10 Key Facts about the Life of Margrethe II. Margrethe Alexandrina Thorhildur Ingrid was born April 16, 1940, at Amalienborg Palace in Copenhagen. Her father was King Frederik IX of the Schleswig-Holstein-Sonderburg-Gluksburg dynasty, and her mother was Princess Ingrid of Sweden. She is cousin to King Harald XVI Gustaf of Sweden, third cousin to King Harald V of Norway, and fourth cousin to the late British Queen Elizabeth II. In addition, she is the great-great-granddaughter of Russian Emperor Nicholas I. At the time of Margrethe's birth, only men could ascend the Danish throne, so she was not considered heiress. However, after her parents had only girls, Benedicta and Anne-Marie, and no male children. In March 1953, a new Act of Succession was passed which allowed women to become queens in exceptional circumstances. So at the age of 13, the young princess became the intended heiress to the throne. By the way, later in 2009 the principle of primogeniture was established in the country when the eldest offspring becomes heir to the monarch regardless of sex and age. Margrethe received her primary education at home, then attended a simple school in Copenhagen, and from 1955 to 1956 she attended a boarding school in Great Britain. Already at the age of 18, she became a member of the country's Council of State and presided over its meetings in the absence of the king. In addition, she did voluntary service in the Women's Corps of the Danish Air Squadron, and from 1960 she studied at universities in Denmark, the Sorbonne in France, and the London School of Economics and Political Science in Great Britain. In June 1967, millions of people all over Denmark celebrated the wedding of Princess Margrethe with the French diplomat Count Henri de Laborde de Montpezat. They met at a formal dinner at the French embassy in London, where the heiress to the Danish throne was studying at the time. Henri loved the Orient from a young age, where the earliest and happiest years of his life were spent. He earned a master's degree in French literature and social sciences at the prestigious Sorbonne University, while simultaneously studying Chinese and Vietnamese, including at the University of Hong Kong. His dream was to become ambassador to an Eastern country, so he offered his services to the French diplomatic service, and very soon received an appointment at the rank of third secretary of the diplomatic mission in London. But when he was offered his dream job as ambassador to Mongolia, he declined without giving a reason. It later became known that the diplomat was head over heels in love with the heiress to the Danish throne and secretly proposed to her. His courtship of Margrethe was said to have been an adventurous affair. After meeting her in London, he invited her for a walk in Hyde Park, then they met in Scotland, secretly exchanging letters through the Danish princess's maid of honor, Vava Armfeldt. When Margrethe returned to Denmark, Henri called her at Amalienborg Palace under assumed names. After a year of courting and a thorough background check on the groom, he met the parents of his bride of choice, King Frederik and Queen Ingrid. They gave their consent to the marriage. As a consequence of marrying the heiress to the Danish throne, he was to cease to be Count Henri. He received the title His Royal Highness Prince Henrik of Denmark. But this did not bring him happiness. In his memoirs, Destiny Binds, which Henri published in 1996, he wrote, "Everything I did was criticized. My Danish was lame, I preferred wine to beer, Citroën Volvo, tennis to soccer. I was different." She speaks not only Danish fluently, but also French, English, Swedish, and German. Moreover, it is known for a fact that in Henrik and Margrethe's family the main language of communication, including with children, was French. Not surprisingly, after living in Denmark for more than 40 years, the Queen's husband never became fluent in her country's language. "Today I realize that I will never be able to speak Danish fluently. It upsets me. I confess that I regret it terribly now," he said in a 2010 interview for Stephanie Surig's book. 11 months after their wedding, May 26, 1968, Princess Margrethe gave birth to a son, Frederik Andre Henrik Christian, Danish prince and Count de Laborde de Montpezat. After Margrethe's accession to the throne, he became crown prince. And on June 7, 1969 she had her second son, Joachim Holger Waldemar Christian. The family idyll lasted only 5 years until the coronation of Margrethe II. The ambitious Henrik remained prince consort to the queen's wife, and this poisoned their family life until his death on February 13, 2018. It must be said that his mother's example was infectious, and both sons found their happiness outside of Denmark. Prince Frederik took Australian Mary Donaldson as his wife, while Joachim was married to an Englishwoman from Hong Kong, Alexandra Manley, and his second wife was Frenchwoman Marie Cavalier. Queen Margrethe has 8 grandchildren. On January 14, 1972, after her father passed away, Margrethe became queen. On that day she took to the balcony of the palace in Christiansborg, in front of which thousands of people had gathered, and announced the grief that had befallen the country. My beloved father, our king is dead. She is the second woman and second Margrethe on the Danish throne in the country's history. Her predecessor, Margrethe I, ruled the country in the early Middle Ages. During her reign Margrethe II made 55 official state visits to other states and received 42 return visits. In Denmark, the monarchy in general and the monarchess in particular is supported by more than 82% of residents. The Danish queen is known for her stunning sense of style. In 2013, The Guardian named her one of the 50 most elegant women over 50 in the world. She has designed some of her own gowns, and has designed costumes for many productions, both ballet and theater, as well as fairy tale film adaptations. The Queen has had a passion for painting since a young age. They modernized the castle with funds received as a gift from residents already on the occasion of their wedding. Since then, Amalienborg has become a place for family celebrations such as Christmas and Easter. Now Margrethe's son Crown Prince Frederik is already spending the vacations there with his family. The castle is undergoing a major reconstruction, which will begin in the late summer of 2023 and will last 10 years. Also, the union organization Friends of the Royal Stables presented Queen Margrethe with a stallion of her favorite Kladrubska breed. This is the oldest Czech horse breed, named after the stud farm that was founded in 1572. They are distinguished by their impressive size, gracefulness, easygoing character, and the ability to go in harness in a carriage course. But the main thing is that even though they are called grey, they are completely white. For this reason, in 1994, the Queen chose this very breed for her stables. Moreover, once, taking the pseudonym of Ingehild Gratmer, she drew wonderful illustrations for the Danish edition of John Ronald Reuel Tolkien's book The Lord of the Rings. Tolkien himself, when he saw her drawings, was delighted at how similar their ideas were to the illustrations for his book. By the way, last summer in the city of Cahors in France opened an anniversary exhibition of her work entitled Margrethe II of Denmark, Queen Painter. The choice of location is not accidental. The fact is that as a child, Henrik and his parents lived there for several years. And 7 years after their marriage, he and Margrethe bought the Château de Cahors, which has since become their main residence during the summer vacations. It was at Cahors that Margrethe painted many of her paintings. Although the official celebration of her Golden Jubilee will take place next weekend, Margrethe II has been receiving congratulations and gifts from her subjects since January. In the spring, she rode the merry-go-round at Copenhagen's famous Danish Tivoli amusement park in the company of Harlequin, Pierrot, and Columbine. In early summer, she received a gift from the municipality of Aarhus, 40 million Danish kroner for the reconstruction of the royal family's summer residence, Amalienborg Castle. The castle was built in 1899 to 1902 at the expense of the residents of the municipality as a wedding gift to grandparents of Queen Margrethe, Prince, later King, Christian X and Princess Alexandrina. After Queen Alexandrina's death in 1952, it passed to Frederik IX and Queen Ingrid, who, 15 years later, passed it on to the future Queen Margrethe and Prince Henrik.